shadows where the whispers dwell, always trying to unring the bell. The red road calls a path less known, with haunted streets where the eerie winds moan. Creatures lurking just beyond the light, not just tales spun to frighten the night. The masquerade of ghosts, they walk along in this gritty realm. We're all too young. Take the red road, let the spirits unfold. Follow Rez Greg Koss, let the mysteries be told. Through the dark we'll weave into the unknown. With each step we take closer to home.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another week of Road Paranormal. It's your favorite Resneck here. Tonight I have a very good friend of mine coming on. Some of you might know him as the Silver Fox. The rest of you should know him as Mr. Greg Koss.
How you doing, Rez?
What's up, buddy? How you been?
Good.
So let's see here. Well, right off the get bat, let's talk about what I was advertising. You got a chance recently to spend some time down in Florida. Is that correct?
Yep.
While you were down there, you got to see an old friend of yours, someone
Yes.
you've had several years interaction with, and that'd be Robert the Doll.
Yep.
So tell me a little bit about that.
This trip was a little different, where in the respect that I had the opportunity to stay in Key West the whole time I was down there.
Very cool.
The other times we were up
Really?
a couple keys up, so we would only go down there so often. First time I met him, it was boy, a long time ago. He was still in the house where the family was, and they had an open house for some reason. And I walked in and nobody said anything, and I started walking up the stairs, and I got up to the third floor and got to the top and turned and looked, and right on the window case, or the shelf to the window, Robert was sitting there. And I just looked and I went, holy cow. And I said, how you doing, Robert? Because there's not a lot of people back then even knew who Robert was.
Right.
And, you know, he was the personal friend of a child who grew up in that house. His parents got him the doll, and he had that doll, and they used to keep it up in the attic after a little bit. And Robert, that's where Robert would, well, the boy would spend his time up in the attic with Robert. And that went on and on and on. And I had been down there numerous times, and every time I was after that, I would make sure that I had at least a one-day visit. Quite a while ago now, he became a permanent resident over at the Fort Monticello, which is it was the fort that was built by the Union troops pre-Civil War, right? And you figure that's as far south as you can get, and you know, and then they had the war started. They were never attacked, but they had another fort on the other side that was, I want to say, it was Jackson, and that was more on the Gulf side, so that if anything would be going on, I would say it would be coming more from the Gulf than it would be from the ocean side. I've actually gotten to the point now where I don't really even go ahead and talk out loud. 2 times ago, when I was in the museum, I did talk out loud. I was by myself.
Mm-hmm.
And every time you go in there, you know, you pay, and they said, do you want us to help, you know, give you a tour or anything? And I says, no. I says, I'm just going to see Robert. And they said, okay, have fun, and I went over, and it's there's no, that was probably the last time I actually spoke out loud.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even do that anymore with him. And he answers me, so I have no problems with that. And I told him I'm his friend from way up north, and it became quite nice. I even back then in when he first went to Monticello, he was already having letters sent to the fort, to the museum, from people that had somehow dissed him. Whether they were being disrespectful or they were doing something else like that, they making fun. And so all these people would end up writing letters because they didn't know what had happened to their life, because it had gone downhill. Things were happening, and it was like, wait, what did I do? Where was I? And then all of a sudden it was like, whoops, we were with that doll in Key West, and it was like, well, that is one thing in the paranormal world that I don't really mess with. I try to be as respectful as I can every time I can, because I don't want to be involved if something would happen and be stuck in the middle with it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so he was there, and we had an opportunity to go and see him again. And then David Sloan is pretty much the caretaker of Robert.
Yep.
And David, I got to meet him quite a few times this last trip. And he's got now 4 books out. His first book was Robert the Doll.
Yeah.
And then he went on, and, he has other books that are very, very interesting. And this last one of the last ones that I got from him, because when I was down there, I got it from him. He gave it to me. And it's this one here. Okay. And it's very, very interesting in the respect that, there's some of us that were around when that particular event took place, and knowing very well the way, when we were in Key West this time, we lived in Key West, and there's, probably, I would say, maybe a sixth or maybe closer to a third of the population is all Cuban.
Yeah.
And, they carry their traditions, quite highly, like Native Americans do.
Yeah.
So I always had an understanding of what it was about, and what was said in, well, I'm not going to go ahead and give the secret out about the book, but it's there's a reason why he wrote that book.
Yeah.
And it was because of some of the people he had talked to and some of the photographs that he had found. And these were real photographs. And he had one that had 2 key figures in that assassination. And one of them was Jack Ruby.
Mm-hmm.
The other one was the man that was accused of being the assassin, Lee Harvey Oswald.
Yeah.
And they were together, I want to say 2 years or a year and a half before the assassination, in Key West together.
Okay. So there's a connection there.
So, he had those pictures, and, David Sloan is a key part of Key West.
Mm-hmm.
He's always doing things in the community. He's giving things to people. He's helping out charities. He's always doing fundraisers. He's an amazing person. And when I went down there, he said, "Give me a call. Give me a call when you get down."
Mm-hmm.
I called him up, and he says, "What are you doing tomorrow night?" I says, I don't know yet. He says, "Why don't you and the missus and you have two other people with you?" And I said, "Yes." And those were my brother and sister-in-law. I said, come on to the fort. Tomorrow night's the investigation. We do a investigation by ticket only. And it involves, it's the haunted museum, they call it. So we went there, and I got to meet the guy that's the curator. He's more or less the general manager.
Okay.
And his name is Dan Radowski, and he's a little younger, and he's just he knows more stuff than I ever thought I'd know.
Right.
He's amazing. And so I had him on my show last week.
Cool.
And if you get a chance to check it out, it's really neat because he knows all the little details.
Okay. For those that are listening and watching that don't already know this, what's the name of the show that they need to go look at?
My show is Mariner of Spirit, and it's on the Supernatural Link Network. It's at 9:00 on Fridays, 9:00 Central.
Well, it's a good show. I've watched it for years, guys. So check them out over there. So we got to make sure you get that plug in there for you.
We try to go ahead and give things to people that they can use.
Yep.
And this was something that when Dan came on, I said, for the people that haven't been there, can you give them a quick look-see? And he took his camera, and we went through the curtains, and we went into the museum, and there was Robert, and he's in a plexiglass case.
Mm-hmm.
And so he went ahead, and I said, tell him I said hello. And it was really something and it was a thank you for letting him come on the show.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really neat. It was something that I didn't think would come to fruition as far as everything happening like that. But, and like I said before, David's always been a great guy. And now he has a haunted firehouse down there. It was the original firehouse from 1907 or 1908. I can't remember exactly which date.
Okay.
But he asked me to come over there, and it turned out to be 2 blocks away from where the house was that we were living in.
Okay, nice.
So I walked over there, and I got to meet everybody, and the people that work with them are all retired firemen, and most of them are from New York.
Very cool.
Yeah, so it was an amazing. This last trip was really, really great, and it sort of opened my eyes to the amount of time that's spent by, like, David, for helping people out and doing things for the community. And, that's something that, I started, I already worked for the Historical Society here in town, but nothing compared to, what David does. He does everything.
Well, we all got our own journeys, So
Yeah.
basically, you're on your path doing what you're supposed to be doing, and he's doing what he's doing.
Well, I enjoy it. I enjoy it amazingly. Everything that I do. So I still love this, and I love working for the Staffords, and our shows, and I think are right up there with a lot of the other ones.
They are.
So I mean, as far as the content's concerned and the effort that's put into the shows, it's what really makes it. This Friday too, I have Tim Shaw on.
Very cool.
Now you've had him on, right?
Nope. Well, I've never had him on any of my shows.
Oh well, I thought you had him on.
No, we'll have to make that happen.
Otherwise, I wouldn't have said anything, Rez. I wouldn't rub anything in there.
It's all good. It's all good. I'm still booking for June on out. So if there's anyone out there listening that wants to come on and chat, there are spots available still.
Well, I always do that for you guys anyway. So
yeah, I appreciate it. So let's backtrack here a minute back to Robert. You're a big ITC person. So have you ever had a chance to use a spirit box or anything like that around Robert?
Yes.
And have you gotten responses from him that way?
Not in the voice that I thought it would be.
Okay.
You get, when you start to think about doing something like that,
yeah,
you sort of, in your mind, you come up with a voice that you think he's going to sound like. Mm-hmm. And then when it happened, and there were only a couple words, and it was this last trip.
Okay.
And we were down there, and we were actually doing that investigation that night. And there was a lot of Estes that night.
Mm-hmm.
I was actually showing people how to do the Estes method.
Nice.
And then they would do it. And that included my sister-in-law.
Okay.
Who was the only one out of those three people that came with me that wanted anything to do with any of it. My wife is no.
Yeah.
My brother-in-law is the same way. But hey, that's their world.
Teach their own. My ex-wife used to like to watch the shows and watch everything I was a part of, but would not partake in an investigation. It just wasn't their realm, their thing. And I meet a lot of people like that, over the years that love watching it, but don't want to go out and actually do it.
Now, I have a question for that guy that was up there, Matt Wolfgram.
Yep.
Where's he from?
He's actually from up here. He's from Wisconsin. He currently stays with me over here at Misfit Island on the reservation.
Okay. He doesn't have any family down in Illinois, does he?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
But we can set up a time after work sometime, get all of us together on a call, and you can ask him some questions. Heck, when I get you up here to do Jericho sometime, I can probably drag him out. He's been itching to go back there. He had a chance to go back with me and Gwen and the Heathen this past summer at the end of our walkabout. He's been dying to go back.
Well, I've been trying to go ahead and figure out when I can come up.
All right.
But we'll wait and see how that goes.
Yeah, the hardest part with me right now to planning anything is I get 1 weekend a month off with the current job. So I'm looking for other avenues so I get more time to go out and do what we do.
Is it going okay for you?
Yeah, it's a 9 to 5. What can I say? Or more like a 6 to 2 in my case. But it is what it is. But we're not here to talk about real life struggles. We're here to talk paranormal. So, what box did you take down there with you? Just out of curiosity. Which spirit box did you take with you down to the Key West?
I took a supernatural link. I had an MCOM, which is the new one, the new smaller one. I had
All
that
right.
box with me. I use it there, and then I use it at the firehouse too, because I
Nice.
investigated both.
Yep. I had a chance to use. Go ahead, finish.
We had I had the opportunity, since I was so close, that I went there the first night, and David wanted me to be the first one to do the virtual tour that they had for the investigations. And what it involved was they had a round table out there, and he had a whole bunch of cordless headphones, and they were all in sync to when the person picked them up and put them on, and then they started the tour. And the tour involved not only the firehouse, but the big yard behind it, because from 1908 back then, they had horses that pulled the fire trucks.
Yep.
So that's where the horses stayed, in the back. So there were what he had done was he had 14 stations set up throughout. There were, I want to say, 4 or 5, something like that, in the yard.
Okay.
And then you went into the firehouse itself, and then you had the rest of them there. And it was downstairs and upstairs in the firehouse. And you know how those virtual tours, or, guided tour or whatever.
Yep.
They told you, okay, now go to light number 2. So it was really cool, and I did it, and I did it live with Katie.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't even know if it. She's been pretty sick, so since I've come back, we haven't even discussed that.
Right.
I know that I did it on my phone, and I never even checked the phone since I've been home.
Okay.
But she did it live on the network, so I thought it was pretty cool. But to be out there and have an MCOM, you got the headphones on, and there was something else. I had a flashlight, a small flashlight, like the ones that
like the little mini mag lights. Yep. Okay.
Little one like that. So I'm trying to hold on to all that, and you know how I have an issue.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and it was like trying to go ahead and do all that. And David, I finally said, "Hey, Dave, you take the lead, and I'll film you."
Yep.
Because he was trying to film me, and I was trying to get everything together, and it wasn't working out too well. But it was a great location. It's a place now that's going to become that is part now of the paranormal in Key West. Okay. He ran all the tours in Key West right in the business district.
Okay.
And for years, and they're amazing. That town is filled with all sorts of things. We did actually get a chance, a place that I had never been to, and I always overlooked it, was Hemingway's house.
Okay. Yeah.
Because it's like a mansion.
Mm-hmm.
And just the rooms and the feelings, they don't want you to turn anything on in there.
Yeah.
For obvious reasons. And I was just awestruck, because I'm a fisherman, and I fish for muskies, and they're pretty damn big fish. And then you think of the sailfish, or the marlins, if you want to call them marlins. And those marlins, he was a big guy. He was like 6'4", 6'3", 6'4", something like that.
Okay.
And like 3 something. And he was standing, and this fish was hanging. And I can't remember the weight of it. but it was way, 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 way up there.
Yeah.
And he had numerous fish on the wall. I mean, pictures.
Yeah.
I don't know what they did with them after they caught them back in the day, but it was very, very interesting. And he also, what's really weird about his mansion is ever since the very beginning, when he first moved in there was a cat. And over the years, while I was there, the cat population started to increase. So they kept tabs on all these cats, the housekeepers and that. And they ended up going ahead and having sections in the backyard outside and he had his own place opposite the mansion where he would write, his writing room.
Yep.
So in front of that, there was sheets of they would have concrete, and there were all these cat paws in there, and it had the paws, and it would have the cat's name and a year.
Unique.
So it was
pretty cool.
Yeah, there's a ton of them there. Amazing. I don't know how but I guess some of them came over the fence. He finally had a fence put up around because he got tired of having people gawking.
Yeah.
So
sometimes you just need your privacy.
But I wish I had the opportunity to go ahead and investigate there, because I'll tell you what, just the vibes, the energy, it was totally different. I mean, there was nothing like if you were in downtown Key West, and there were certain places in their bars, a couple of them have that kind of energy, but this whole entire mansion plus the house that he rode in had the same vibe. So it was really neat.
Right, you're making me want to plan a trip down there. I've never been down there. I think it'd be a fun time.
There's so much going on down there. Oh, look at Christy's here.
Yep. She's chatting in the chat. So,
Jeff's here.
Yeah. We got a pretty decent sized chat going on here. Yeah.
That's good.
Yep.
It's interesting.
Do you have any plans, any other investigations planned out for this year yet, or are you still kind of just flying by the seat of your pants?
Because of the boat and the fishing, to get everything going before I'm going to take off. Yeah. I know we do. We don't have our place up in Star Lake, Wisconsin anymore.
Oh.
Because like I told you, that was the resort.
Yep.
And that guy tore it all down, including the old original, it was called the Waldheim. It was the original lodge. And that place was where I did all my investigating up there. I could leave my cabin and go over there. And towards the end of it, about the last 3 or 4 years, I started filming it.
Okay.
Where I'd have one of my sons come in, and I would do some Estes work, and he would film around me, behind me, and see if he could pick anything up. Mm-hmm. So I have all that saved, but I'm going to be going to Broadhead with you for the Beard Brothers.
Nice.
And
I'm looking forward to that.
And then there's Fond du Lac.
Yep, I won't be in Fond du Lac this year.
Well, I'm trying to do Fond du Lac too.
It's going to be a good time. for those that are going. It should be a really good time. They got a lot of good speakers this year. I
And
just
that
can't make it.
and that's the home of Mercury Outboards. So
Yep. I had a great uncle of mine that worked there and retired from there.
wow. I
That's
know 3 guys, and there's one left that all work there. And
okay.
they all fished the Pro Tour with me, the PMTT, the Muskie Tournament Trail. And I quit doing that in 15.
I see Lee's coming up to Broadhead for the Bearded Brawl. Awesome.
I don't know her. Is that her
Lee,
or him?
That's Lee Warner. Good friend of mine. She's been on the show once or twice. Also, probably have seen me around with her at different Paracons because we've partnered up and gone a couple of them together.
The name looked familiar. I don't know if we're friends or not, but if tell her she can look me up. I'd love become.
You guys are friends on Facebook. I'm pretty sure. Okay. I know she's been in your comments in the past.
Okay. Laura Pruitt was there. No, I haven't met you in person.
Not in person yet. All right.
I hope so this time.
Oh, yeah.
This year, excuse me, not just this time. Be great to meet you.
See, we just need to get you out in the public more, Greg. Start meeting all these amazing people that follow you. Speaking of Broadhead, now last year we got a chance to do a little work together there. First time we'd have actually had worked together in person. Now as we got to do a dual Estes. I thought that was a great time.
It was.
Hey, Barbara. So yeah, I'd like to actually do that again sometime at a different location with you.
We'll see. If there's going to be a Paracon or something going on, I think it's important because of the fact that it teaches some things to people besides what they have come up with. There's a lot of people that have preconceived notions of what's going on with that kind of work. And if you ever question it, all you have to do is watch the Wednesday show, because I have a group of people that work with me. Oh, by the way, I brought it up the other day to him too. I says, wait a minute, Rez hasn't been back lately.
Yeah, I gotta get on your other shows so I can get a night off.
Well, as soon as it happens, Wednesday night.
Which now we're talking about your second show. Let our viewers and listeners know what that is and when they can find it.
It's When Spirit Connect. It's on Wednesday nights, and it's at 9 p.m. Central again on the Supernatural Link Network. Yep. And that's not only on Facebook, but then it's on YouTube too.
Yep. And that's all about spirit communication through ITC. We do Estes sessions on there, dual Estes, and it's a great show. It was actually the first show that I ever caught with you in it, which started me following you all them years ago.
It's been a while.
Yep.
That show we started when I went to Supernatural Link, so I think it's 4 years now.
Yep. Yeah, it was probably right around the beginnings when I caught the first one. I was at work one night and flipping through podcasts and came across that, and I thought it was an amazingly cool technique, and that just got me to follow you from there.
For some of the people that have never seen it before, the whole premise of how the show came about, part of the premise was the fact that I would have people in different parts of the country, so that they were doing their own Estes on the show, yet they were in Texas or Connecticut or New Jersey, Rhode Island, Indiana, wherever it happened to be. And the spirits were sort of grabbing onto the rails. In other words, like they were going along with it.
Yep.
And I felt that compared to you or me sitting in like Broadhead doing an Estes method in there by ourselves, that because of the long distances, that all this energy would be amplified because of the distance. So that was what the original hunch was. So we worked on that. And there's times that things come up, and not only the answers that are given, but we've also Carol Garcia, who helps me a lot in getting things set up, and she co-hosts sometimes on the other show. She goes back and reviews the show, and from what has been said these last couple shows, there's been an average of like 15 EVPs per show, above and beyond what we're doing in the Estes sessions.
Nice.
So it is amplified.
Yeah. So yeah, I know like over the summer, actually, Gwen, you want to pop up here so we can talk about this real quick?
Yeah. What's up?
Over the summer, when we were in the Explorer Littlefoot running around doing our paranormal walkabout, we were listening to your show one night, and it came up that her name came up from one. My name came through from you.
Yep.
I think you said something like check on Rez. And then we had another moment where you spit out, get them out of that truck, they're going to kill themselves.
Yes.
We had been driving all freaking day long at that point, trying to get to our next location.
Yeah.
Which I thought that was unique for the fact that you didn't know we were tuned in at the time. You were under when we had.
There's no way you could have known.
So. But yeah,
it's just more affirmation of what is going on during the sessions.
Yeah.
Somebody knew we were listening for real because they were telling you. And you know what? I think, didn't we stop and check something the next time we stopped to make sure the truck was good? Or
Yep. Next time we pulled over, I checked everything over just to make sure, if that wasn't just a warning about it. But yeah, that
maybe
was.
You were just trying to tell us. Yeah, I think we had actually talked to him that day though, or the day before.
I think it was the day before we had chatted with him just to check in, and then for that to pop up, during your show while we were listening, and you had no clue that we were there.
Nope.
Because we weren't commenting in the posts or anything like that. So.
We had terrible signal, but we were trying to at least listen.
We really went ahead and came to the conclusion a lot that for some people they force things.
Yep.
And from the very beginning it was like, don't even think of doing that because that's not going to work.
Yeah, you just gotta relax and let it flow.
And then it's more or less channeling. The channeling's been going on with me for before I even came to Supernatural Inc. And I do Estes methods at events that we went to, like a bar or something like that. And we'd have a big investigation. And I did it one night at a bar in Wisconsin over the border right here. And it was freaky. I started doing it and I would just call the words out. And there were people that were listening around the bar. And it was a pretty big bar.
Yeah.
And they're all sitting there and I got done. And I thought, I don't know how that worked. I just didn't have any real confidence in that night, because there were people that were drinking. And sometimes that's one thing with the paranormal that I don't particularly care for, is consumption when you're dealing with spirit.
Yep.
And so I got done and I walked around the side, and this woman comes up to me and she goes, "Oh,
Yeah,
She
we'd
just
never
said
have a
that.
haunted bar up
there's
here.
no haunted bars in Wisconsin."
Never. There's
So-
only 3 bars per town,
So-
one
so-
church.
So what happened was, I said some words. The two of these ladies, it was keywords. These 2 ladies were sitting there drinking, and both of them tended bar there.
Mhm.
And you know how it is when you get ready to leave a bar, is, you try to get your beer down, and right before okay, we'll see you guys. And then all of a sudden, bing, 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 the beers are sitting in front of you again because they don't want you to leave.
Yeah.
They had a code word for, they would just get up and walk out when it was time, and nobody would know that. And then there was another word that was a girl's name that was a dear friend of one of the girls who had passed like 3 months before this.
Oh no.
Okay.
And I had no clue. And they were gone, but the man that owned the tavern had come up to me and said, "Wow." He says, "You're not going to believe this shit." And I said, "What are you talking about?" And he went ahead and he explained it all to me. He says, "How long you been doing that?" He says, and I'm going, hey, please. It's one thing in the paranormal that you don't need to have, is a fat head.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I try to keep myself at the point where I'm of service. I'm actually working and trying to help people, and leaving it at that.
Yep, definitely. Like me, I'm doing this for future generations, to hopefully inspire someone to actually pick up the mantle and keep following their dreams. Show them it's possible. Anything's possible in this world.
That's true.
The first time it happened in Lake Villa. And I did a session on stage, and there were a bunch of people. We had an event there. And I did the whole session. I got done, and one of the guys that worked at that time, he was recording all the answers that I had given.
Mm-hmm.
And I got done, and I looked at him and I said, "Are you okay?" He says, "No." He says, "Man, here, take the list and this and the pen. I got to go outside." I says, "What's wrong?" And he just said, "I got to go outside." And he went outside. So I decided I'd follow him, make sure he was okay. And I got out there. He was one of the kids that went to Northern Illinois University when they had that shooting there.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
And he was one of the ones, he was shot in the back. And he was ashen white. It was like he had seen a ghost, literally. And I just said to him, and he said, you had said specific terms and words pertaining to what happened to me that day. And I just went, I don't know if I want to do this anymore. Because I'm not doing it. And then again, I have no control of it anyway, because it's mostly channeling. It's channeling.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just the one in the middle.
Yep, Spirit's going to come through and give you the message that whoever's there needs. Not what they want to hear, but what they need to hear.
I started going ahead and saying a prayer now.
Yep.
To myself before I do it, just to go ahead and cover myself.
Yep. Anytime I do anything like that, I ask for my guides, for all the spirits around, to help me connect and give the message that they need to hear. You know, as clear as possible, you know, as I can.
We all feel the same way.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're
And
just the messengers. You know, we're the form of communication that the other side chooses to get their message out. We're a tool to them.
That's what's really
Hey,
neat
Greg,
about it.
do you remember, without listening back, most of your stuff? Because when I do a spirit box, I don't remember a whole lot of it.
No.
I don't either.
Yeah, I got to
broke
listen.
I don't. I remember going out and saying, "Oh shit, I didn't set the timer," or something like that. Because when we do doubles, I have 30 minutes on my phone,
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
and I'm supposed to set it, and then I sort of stick it between my legs on vibrate, so that when it goes off.
Ooh. But he likes that vibration.
Watch out, man.
But it's always been like that. We keep on refining things as we go along in the group, and we have people, and we keep on moving the people around too. Nobody ever does a session with the same person twice.
I love watching and listening, but I know when you had asked us to come on, I can't remember which show you asked me to come on. I was like, Greg, I broke my spirit box, man. I can't come on.
Well, you have it'll happen in the future here, and
I know. I'm hoping when we go to Broadhead, because I know I'm gonna be there, and you and Lee and a whole bunches of folks are gonna be there. I'm hoping that maybe me and you can sit down and do one. I'm trying to get another one.
We could go up into the music room, and we could actually
I have footage of you and Rez doing a session up there.
Yep.
That was the second time I did it up there.
Oh, was it?
I did it the first time with Carly.
Okay.
Yep.
The first year.
So now, have you tried a direct link by JW yet?
I would die to get a direct link.
Okay.
I want one also, Greg. I get it.
I've been using them a couple of times now, and I love them. I'm going to get myself one. I know JW. He's a good friend of ours. We met him over the summer.
Yep.
And I will be getting one. I had just used one actually a few weeks ago when I was down at Jericho again.
We used them when we were there. Remember? Huh?
Yep. I forgot how much I really like that piece of equipment.
Yeah. I do too, but my pocketbook can't afford it. I'll be real with you.
I have a bag in the back here that has a portal from the Italian guy up north. Giuliano. Giuliano, Dave Giuliano.
Okay.
And I've had that for I think about 8 years now.
Okay. I have yet to try one of them.
I've had things happen with that thing that drop you right on the floor.
Wow.
Honest to God. I had one time, and I had a friend of mine who wasn't into the paranormal, and we both worked at the Historical Society, and we would do things there. Okay, I'd bring gear in there, and I don't know. I says, okay, use the dowsing rods because I can't.
Right.
And he'd start to use the dowsing rods, and he was really good, but then he got scared. And the reason he got scared was we called the chief in.
Mm-hmm.
Called on the chief, and the chief had been dead for 7 months, and he he was a gentleman that really enjoyed talking with us. And we would be talking, and the lights would go on certain pieces of equipment and things like that, and you knew he was there. And then I said, okay, I said, that's going to be about it. I think we're going to go. We're going to shut down now. I said, thanks, Chief. And I said, we are going. And Danny was over there in the corner. He had the dowsing rods out like this. And all of a sudden, both of them took off like helicopter blades.
Oh.
Spinning around. Seriously. And he was going, and he's like your size. And he's going, whoa. Like he got scared to death. He says, what the hell is going on? I says, that's an emphatic no.
Yeah.
You can't leave.
They didn't want you to. They're having too much fun.
Yeah.
That's one thing a lot of people don't realize. When you go into a location where they don't have a lot of communication and you open that doorway up for them, it's going to go one of two ways. Either one, they're going to go nuts and want to talk to you all night long and use every piece of equipment you put out. Or the other way is you're not going to get a thing because they're too scared. They don't know what you're about. I've seen it too many times. It's one or two. It's never just in the middle. So I realize that.
Christy says she seconds that, so I third that.
Definitely.
And Glenn probably fourths that.
Yeah.
It's really neat. I couldn't ask for anything better to happen to myself and have survived, my employments and got through and retired and I had the perfect job at the end with Bass Pro Shops. Just not only working in the fishing department, but always doing classes and
nice
teaching kids how to do things. And, so that was the icing on the cake.
Now, did you get to work at the one down at Gurney Mills?
Yeah.
Nice. I actually remember as a kid watching them build Gurney Mills.
Well, I started working there right as they were going to open.
Okay.
We had to go ahead and build the whole inside.
Yep. I used to pass by there every day heading into Waukegan to go see my old man at his shop.
I worked.
I had a shop right on Sunset.
I worked fishing the whole time.
Very cool.
We had 2 pet muskies in the tank. One of them died on Christmas Eve. He ate, I don't think it was a sucker. It was something else that got stuck in his throat.
Yep.
And then we had another one. Every once in a while, we'd be there. We'd come in when they opened the store at like 5 o'clock in the morning, and you'd have a muskie sitting 30 feet from the tank on the ground.
Decided to go for a walk, huh?
Yeah. Flew out of the tank, tried to make it to the next body of water, but he didn't.
All right. Not cool.
But
poor guy.
A lot of good times, great location. We didn't leave it the nicest way, but they ended up having to go ahead and retire me, so I got the benefit of that.
There you go. So now,
go ahead.
Now, if you had the opportunity, I ask everyone this, to go anywhere in the world for an investigation, where's your dream spot?
There's like 3. I would want to go to Pompeii.
Oh, yeah.
That'd be interesting. That'd be cool. I never thought about that one.
I've been to Rome. I've
never been out the country.
I've been to old Rome, the Appian Way. Did a tour down into the catacombs where they buried the first Christians.
Yeah.
So all they did was they would dig a hole in the wall, and they would put the body there. So, and I was, I took this trip after I came back from overseas. And then 3 years later, friends of mine in the military that were officers were all stationed in Munich and that. And we had the opportunity to go, and we did Italy, we did Austria, we did Germany, and Italy, we did Venice, Florence, and Rome. We did three, and then Rome, we did 5 days. And we stayed at pensions or Zimmer Fries. And those are places where you can stay for cheap. It's like somebody's house.
Mm-hmm.
But usually it's like an apartment building. And you would have a bedroom, and then they would feed you breakfast in the morning, and you'd sit at the table with the whole family.
A bed and breakfast, basically.
Yeah.
Cool.
So we did that, and I was always interested in Germany. Another place would be it's Bahnhof is the train station, but where Adolf Hitler used to do his big speeches at the bar in Munich.
Okay. I have some pretty interesting energy there, I bet. Yeah,
I've been there. I just never, back then I was not really into. I was, even though, I started when I was 5, pretty much, and that was at Gettysburg.
Yeah, I remember that.
No, it was 10. I exaggerated there a little bit.
I remember it was Gettysburg. I couldn't remember how old you were.
Yeah, it was 10.
I thought about you last time I went. I'm going again this year.
Nice.
You got to tell me where to go?
I've been there 3 times. The first time I was when I was 10. And it took me another whole time that we were there for like 3 days to come to terms of where my father had parked the car when we first went there. And that happened to be Reynolds Woods.
Okay.
Which is basically the first spot when you drive into the park.
Mm.
Okay.
Cool.
And that's where all hell broke loose. The wind came in or was going out. And then that's when everything was brought in. And it was all the noises from the horses, from the troops, from the guns, from the cannons, and the screaming. And it was all, there were even direct bursts overhead from like those exploding shells that would knock out about 15, 16 guys at a time.
Yep.
That kind of stuff. And I became fixated to the point where the next time I had a spirit box, and when I went down onto the triangular field, and I think Rez has heard this story before, but we had Rosemary Eileen Golly with us. And she was a lot of fun. Her and her husband. And we went down. It was starting to get dark. And I started heading down, and her husband headed down and went all the way down to the creek at the bottom of the big hill. Now, the triangular field is located below Devil's Den.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got Little Round Top to the right. So the Confederate troops were in the woods. And that's where, when I went down, I was going to that side towards the woods, and I found this big giant slab of granite that had to be like maybe maybe 12 feet across.
Mm-hmm.
It was almost like a little patio, and I set my gear up there, and I was working on my gear, and there was some things going on from up above, people that were having issues with just EVPs and spirit work, with just listening to the spirit box, and there were like 8 people. And then there was arguments that were going on what the spirit box said.
Yeah.
And I'm like way down there, and I hear them like they're right next to me. And I'm going, what the, so that's when I started looking into a different way of communicating,
Mm-hmm.
which was the Estes.
That's cool.
Yeah. Cool.
And I had heard from Greg and Dana Newkirk that they had Connor Randall and Carl Pfeiffer from the Stanley Hotel, and that's in Estes Park. So that's when they came up with the method of the headphones. Mm-hmm. That was what they called it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Estes method, because there's no way that person's going to hear anything.
No. So we are at the top of the hour, though, my friend.
Oh, we are.
So basically, if someone wants to reach out to you and be on one of your shows, or if they want to reach out to you, have you on their shows, how does someone find you?
They can go ahead and get me on Facebook.
Underneath Greg Koss.
Underneath Greg Koss.
Right.
Or they can go to one of the shows, and either Mariner Spirit or One Spirit Connect. And I have pages on both of those shows too.
Right.
And then if you want to do email, it's Gregory Koss 1949 at gmail.com. That's not my birth date, by the way.
You were born in the 70s, right?
I 74, something like that. But anyway.
So I have one question for Rez before we get off. Rez, where is your place that you want to go? Absolute want to go the worst.
People should know this, because I say it almost every week when I ask this question. I really want to do 30 days on Alcatraz.
I do.
That's me. I want run the entire island, take a small group of people with me, and just let us do our thing. I want to connect with the criminal element there, and I want to connect with the native element from when AIM took it over. Plus anything else that's been there from the beginning.
Yep.
I've always been drawn to the rock ever since I was little. I don't know why, but there's something about it. So one of these days, it's going to happen.
I know, it was interesting. That's why I said, you know what mine is too. So
yeah, well, spit it out there. You got it.
I want to go to the country of Scotland and just travel everywhere and go everywhere.
Yeah.
I'm obsessed with Scotland. So, if you believe in past lives, you kind of get what I'm saying. So
okay.
Yeah.
Come on up.
She's going to Rusland.
Don't forget the prisoners.
Yeah. There's all kinds of activity there.
That sounds amazing. Yeah. Oh, yeah, it would be cool. Honey, that would be more than a month. It would take more than a month. It really would.
Yeah. It would.
You would have to take 6 months.
It would take forever. Yep. Scotland's bucket list. Yep.
I got to find me a sugar mama then. Someone that wants to go paranormal investigating for months at a time.
You put a listing in the newspaper, see what happens.
Oh yeah.
I just put it out there now. So who needs a newspaper?
Well, me and you went on the road, but I'm not rich.
No, neither am I.
You were on the road for a long time.
Yeah.
About 3 months, yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
That was really, really amazing. I was very, very jealous.
Well, Greg, next time we go, you just go have to meet us somewhere.
Yeah, I have to bail in or something.
No, you can put me in the trunk.
Shit, we'll come with. Yeah, that's what I said. We'll come kidnap you. What you talking about?
Yeah, we'll tie him to the roof on the roof rack.
Like Grandma from National
Yep.
Lampoons
Yep.
in the rocking chair.
That would be the Beverly Hillbillies. It's more like it. All right. I know Rez is ready to get off of here.
Yep. So I want to thank all y'all for tuning in again. It's a blast. I love all you that come and see us. If you want to come on the show, contact me on Facebook, Bobby Resnack Calkins. Remember, if you want one of the Red Road Paranormal t-shirts, that's available at Resnack Inc. That's INK at Printify. They're only like $20 plus shipping and handling. They're cheap. So that's a good way to support the show. So I want to say thank you all.
That's
Make
awesome.
sure you like, share, and subscribe both the Red Road Paranormal YouTube channel and the All Access YouTube channel. We're trying to get them all to grow, guys.
Yep.
So, and every time you share it out, that just helps the algorithm get us to more people.
It's a great network.
Thank you.
Yep,
Rez.
it is.
Thank you, Rez.
So I'm proud to say I'm part of it. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys.
So,
I appreciate it. All
right.
right. I'm gonna
Take
pop
us
out.
away.
Yeah, I'm gonna pop out and you take us away. How about that?
Okay,
All right.
I'll hang around for a minute. Bye, everybody.
All right, guys, get out there and live your dreams because life's too short to dream your life away. And we're out of here.
Right.
See you next week.